Folks, we're in a spiritual battle. Right now, all across the globe, our Christian brothers and sisters are being targeted because they stand firm in their faith in Jesus Christ. God's word calls us to remember them. We've got to stand with those heroes of the faith. In the powerful book, When Faith is Forbidden, Todd Nettleton and the Voice of the Martyrs bring you 40 gripping true stories of believers who said yes to Christ, even when it cost them everything, freedom, family, and even their lives. As a special gift to my listeners, you can get a free copy. Just head on over to vom.org/Charlie or click on the link below. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, freedom@charliekirk.com, here at the bitcoin.com studio, and subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Just a reminder, tomorrow we'll be on campus at Utah Valley University. It is the American Comeback Tour. We have thousands and thousands of tickets that have already been facilitated, and I think you guys should check it out right now, AmericanComebackTour.com. That is AmericanComebackTour.com. See, Blake is such a Packers fan. He said, what should we talk about? Oh, talk about the Bears. I'm not talking about the Bears, okay? You see, I even put in my group chat. I said, the Bears are winning by 14 points. This is a very strange thing. I don't know how to handle it. Oh, but don't worry. I got back down to what I was used to awfully quickly, which is a tragic, embarrassing loss on national television. The Bears are who we thought they were. The whole thing is messed up. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, we'll be back on campus tomorrow at AmericanComebackTour.com. That is AmericanComebackTour.com. The Bears put on a masterclass, one of the worst coach games in the history of football. It was so bad. They challenge in the second. You never do this in the second half. You should be smacked across the face. He challenged what was not even a close call of Noah Sewell, with a fumble. What happens when you lose a challenge? You lose a timeout. So you lose a timeout. You need to stop the clock, and they only have 2 timeouts left, and they can't do that. And then some rocket scientist on the Bears, I'm screaming at my TV. I woke up everyone. They decide, well, we have to kick the ball, and it was like 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, okay? And they're down by 3 points. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. So with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, you have to make sure that the ball either goes out of bounds or that you kick it off so that they can't do a turn. You only have 1 timeout left. Why does that matter? Well, because then the 2-minute warning stops the clock, and that is a built-in timeout for when the Vikings run the ball inevitably. What do? They allow the Vikings to return the ball. They're basically ending the game. It's just the Bears find ways to disappoint us post-1985. That's fine. We still won a Super Bowl. And let's count how many Super Bowls the Vikings have won. That's what I thought. Okay, email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. So much going on here that we have to cover. Oh yeah, my team's telling me that's right. It's no longer going to be the Chicago Bears. It will be the Arlington Heights Bears. I'm of the opinion the move to the Arlington Heights Stadium is going to be great. People don't like it. My family's like, no, it's not going to be good. I think it's going to be great. I think that we can finally have a new identity, get out of Chicago. And that's actually a really good connection to some political issue of Mayor Johnson. Mayor Johnson is so bad that he has successfully driven the Bears out of Chicago. And that's as bad as it gets. I mean, that is peak level failure as a mayor of Chicago. He has driven the Bears out of Chicago and into a dome. I'm not sure it's going to be a dome. I think it's like a retractable roof that they're able to do indoor events. And they should be able to open it up. However, part of me is kind of a little sad because there is something uniquely Chicago about Soldier Field when it's negative 10 degrees. It's just something iconic about that and something rather beautiful. Anyway, it was the most Bears game I've ever seen in my life. Everyone is watching. I'm getting texts from people. Charlie, you must be really happy. I'm not even that. Caleb Williams, he's kind of a fairy. Not a huge fan. Whatever. You got to cheer for him because it's the Bears, the way it works. And they want an indoor Super Bowl. They can host a Super Bowl and March Madness games. Packers will be the last team to actually play in the snow. And look, I actually don't hate the Packers as much as I hate other teams. I have deep respect for the Packers in a lot of different ways. And here's Blake giggling his way to an NFC championship. I got to tell you, though, that there's something very alluring. You got the Vikings inside, you got Detroit inside, and you still have the Packers that are going to play outside. You got to respect it, and the Bears are going inside. And honestly, maybe it'll be a nice little supercharge, a turbocharge. The Arlington Heights Bears. How does that sound? They've driven him out of New York City. Again, here was the problem. They built New Soldier Field back when I was a kid, and no one ever liked it. It didn't work. It was super clunky. They should have just went all in and built a multi-billion-dollar stadium, like a billion-dollar stadium back when it mattered. Anyway, all that to say, Brandon Johnson's a complete disaster. Chicago is an unrecognizable form of is a version of its former self, and it's too bad. And since Chicago is this once great city that is so in desperate need of a leader, and Brandon Johnson is just a nightmare. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. We have a lot more to cover here. And as I wallow in our Bears stuff, and again, it would have been one thing if they just had a typical loss. But the fact it was like the season opener at Soldier on national television. This is just such a typical, my friend says, it's just typical Bears fan. I'm not going to talk about the Bears, and then I rant about the Bears for the next 5 minutes. It's just, it's what we're used to, which is pain and suffering, everything post-1985. Caleb Williams, I'll tell you what, that guy with his black nails, he's going to wear a tutu to the next game.